The medicine has been in the family for a long time, over 100 years today.
In this place where the peyote grows, the peyote gardens, it was very spectacular.
I just grew up around it. Teepees, and then I went into the teepee and I learned from my grandfathers and I learned from all my uncles and my dad and everything. They trained me and taught me how to be a peyote roadman. And a peyote roadman is a person that conducts the Native American Church prayer service ceremonies. Put up a teepee, pray. So this has been going on for a lot of years.
Mavihaka. There are many stories about the mother, lost her child, and for her to take this medicine.
The story goes that she was lost in the desert and that out of exhaustion she laid down on the ground, and the following morning the sun rose and suddenly she heard these voices speaking to her and looked around, and it was all the peyote talking to her and saying, woman, partake of me, take me into you and we will strengthen you, and but before you leave this place, gather as much of us as you can and take us back to your people. And I love hearing that story as many times, and I never get tired of hearing it because it speaks directly to the geographic relationship that this Peyote Way has and its relationship with the Native American Church today.
Our path is already set that way. But we never thought we would stop to give testament about this medicine and the Native American Church.
Native American Church, they got a charter and articles of incorporation October 10th, 1918. Today I'm here in Miranda City, Texas. The home here belonged to Claudio Cardenas Sr. and his wife, Maida. They lived here, and they made friends with the native people that used to do a pilgrimage to come down here to cut medicine and to pray.
Yeah, she was the first licensed peyote dealer anywhere, and she picked up the trade from her mom and dad, Mr. and Mrs. Ezequiel Sanchez of Los Ojuelos, a little town just south of here, about a couple of miles where she was born. And so they weren't dealers back then, before the Native American Church was formed. They were just South Texas peoples that knew how to navigate their way around the peyote gardens and would collect it for the peoples that were coming down this way from Oklahoma and up north.
I had a mother that was very, very interested in what her father was doing in this ceremony here.
This Native American Church got into some trouble due to some non-Indians mixing peyote with drugs, and they got caught by the feds.
Her and her father, they got put in jail for this ceremony. At the time, I didn't see it that I was doing this political thing.
Because the state of Texas regulates this medicine as a hallucinogenic, and I don't feel that our people need permission from the state.
All they want to do is just be respected a little bit, and that's all.
And we all come here to say thank you for life. Thank you to God that He chose us to have this relationship with this holy medicine.
And they brought a man in, had a blanket, and he was half paralyzed. And they kept giving him peyote, and then they kept doctoring him. They turned him over in the front, they doctored him over here. And he got up and he walked out.
Western science has much to learn from the ancient cultures such as the Huichols and peyote wise people who, as with the Native American Church, have been learning and healing from the medicine for over a century.
We have been conducting psychedelic research at Johns Hopkins University in what has now become the Center for Psychedelic and Consciousness Research since the early 2000s. During this time, we've published a number of the most cutting edge and leading studies that are demonstrating not only the potential safety and potential efficacy of psychedelic therapies.
And some of the myriad of medicinal purposes that peyote has been reported to effectively treat are arthritis, congestion, headache, knee pain, fatigue. It's a tonic for good health. There's also peyote in pregnancy. There's a myth about the pilgrimage to Wirikuta, and in it, these two goddesses become pregnant in Wirikuta, and one of them goes back and shares peyote to the community, and the other one stays in Wirikuta and becomes the goddess of peyote, which they call Wili Ubi. So that got me really interested about peyote in pregnancy. Women who are pregnant are eating peyote. So some Huichol women consume peyote throughout all of their pregnancies. If you go to the shaman early on, and he will fix you, he will help you and your fetus so that you will have a healthy birth. They've been doing this for thousands of years.
So this is a substance that induces physical and or spiritual well-being. So we see a broad interpretation of what a medicine is, which is very different than what we see in the Western medical context, where you look at something that has a specific pharmacological action, right? So we're looking at a broader context here. So there's been some study and some debate within the academic community about where the therapeutic actions of peyote come from.
But essentially, this is proposing that drugs that are Schedule 1 that are provided with breakthrough therapy designation by the FDA be automatically rescheduled to Schedule 2. And the rationale behind that is that, by definition, Schedule 1 drugs are incredibly toxic, highly addictive, and have no known medical use. Breakthrough therapy designation by the FDA is an acknowledgement of an up-and-coming drug that shows really, a high degree of early effect sizes and great potential.
The other piece of this act, in addition to opportunities for regulations around research, is also allowing for the potential of compassionate use, which is allowed for Schedule 2 drugs. So there are some folks out there who might really benefit from this treatment now. And by moving to Schedule 2, this would create the option for some folks in very special circumstances to get access to this treatment.
And I think that there's something really unique going on in that some of the propaganda that has been kind of pushed on psychedelics decades ago is beginning to fall away, and we have the opportunity to have a much more evidence-based discussion about psychedelics, especially as we grow the evidence base.
Texas, this is my dear friend Amada Cardenas, who was the first federally licensed peyote dealer to legally sell peyote to members of the Native American Church. And she was a healer in and of her own right. But a lot of people would go to her place to get peyote, to have their ceremonies on her property, and they still do today.
Claudio Sr., Amada's husband, had taken ill, and he was doctored with this peyote, and it made him well. And so the men who were involved in that doctoring, or that time that it happened, came together and decided they would have a celebration every year thereafter for his healing. And it turned out to be this time of the year during the George Washington birthday weekend, and they would take advantage of their time here by going to the celebration, going into Nuevo Laredo to shop, and just checking out the festivities here in Laredo. And then it started there, and it grew, and then a Friday night meeting was added later on thereafter for Amada herself. So we had a Friday night for Amada and a Saturday night for Claudio. And then Claudio passed away in 1962, but the meetings continued on.
Every whole has a story. Everything has a special meaning.
I used to be a skeptic, but when I seen that, I said, wow, this thing is more powerful than I realized, you know.
Everything on the earth and in the sky, we put it all together like it's a sphere.
I would say for our generation and for our young children, we need to try very, very hard to get them into these ways, and they can somehow relearn the culture and be part of it. I wish, you see these young boys, I wish our young people be out here too, a lot of them from back on Navajo Res. So it does interest me, it does concern me what you're doing, exploring, it's good. I think it has good intentions.